Why is it that the more logically sound an argument is, the more evidence you have to back it up, the harder some people seem to resist it?
Right.
Have you ever felt like you're trying to move an actual mountain every
Yeah.
single time you try to change someone's mind? Maybe a family member, a colleague, or even in your community?
That frustrating feeling, that feeling of hitting a solid brick wall when you're just trying to share a good, beneficial idea, it's incredibly common, and honestly, it's demoralizing.
It really
We
is.
often chalk it up to just stubbornness.
Yeah.
But the book we're talking about today shows it's not that simple. It's about something much deeper, a kind of protective psychology.
And getting your head around that dynamic, that psychology, is the difference between constant conflict and, well, connection.
Exactly. Productive, lasting connection.
Absolutely. The ability to guide someone toward a new beneficial perspective without, resorting to force or manipulation,
Yeah.
it's arguably one of the most valuable skills you can have.
In every part of life.
Every single part. Welcome to Book Bites, a program where we discuss a new book every week, and we extract key insights and practical wisdom for you, our listeners.
We really try to share them in an informative, but also, an engaging way.
This is a bit of a landmark for us.
Mhm.
This is episode 1 in our series. And today, we are discussing the profound insights from the book Mindstuck by Michael McQueen.
It's a fantastic book.
As you know, this program is designed specifically to help English learners improve their language skills.
Right.
By listening to these engaging discussions about important topics, you're learning both advanced communication strategies and advanced English vocabulary at the same time. And to really maximize your learning from this, remember to download the free worksheet about this episode. The link is right there in the description box below. Our mission today, based on the framework from the book, is to transform that difficult task of moving a mountain into something gentler. The art of guiding a seeker.
I love that phrasing.
We're going to unpack 5 powerful, ethical, principle-based techniques for persuasion that are designed to foster understanding and strengthen relationships, not break them.
What's so fascinating here is the core premise the author explores. Changing minds it's fundamentally not manipulation when it's rooted in respect and kindness.
Yeah, it's wisdom.
It is. It's wisdom in action. It's about building bridges of understanding, not winning battles. And if you look at truly influential leaders throughout history, great teachers, community organizers, they succeeded not through force, but through compassion, exemplary conduct, and patient, empathetic dialogue. We're going to explore how we can stop arguing at someone's logic center, which is often, let's be honest, futile,
Completely.
and start communicating with the emotional gatekeeper that really controls what we believe.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Hmm.
Before we can even start to navigate this landscape, we need a map. We need to start by understanding the architecture of what the book calls the stubborn mind.
Right. To begin this exploration, we have to first recognize our own instinctive mistake.
Which is what?
The reaction most of us have when we face resistance is to just push harder.
Right. More facts, more data.
Exactly. More figures, stronger arguments. But the book clearly shows why this approach is so often counterproductive. It tends to trigger a deeper, more emotional resistance. The mind sees it as a threat.
And that leads to strained relationships or even broken ones.
Precisely. So we need a fundamental diagnosis of why the mind resists new, beneficial information in the first place.
Exactly. The human mind isn't just a logic processor. It's not a spreadsheet where you can just add a new fact and it recalculates. It's a complex, energy-saving ecosystem.
That's a great way to put it.
And the book introduces this crucial concept of 2 systems of thought. The dueling minds. The instinctive mind versus the inquiring mind.
Let's break down the instinctive mind first. You can think of it as System 1. This is your mind's default setting.
The automatic pilot.
Totally. It's blindingly fast, it's automatic, emotional, and it operates mostly subconsciously. You're not even aware of it. The system relies heavily on mental shortcuts. Psychologists call them heuristics and gut feelings to process the massive amount of information we get every day. It handles the vast majority of your snap decisions and reactions without you having to think about it.
Its job is speed, right? Survival.
Speed and efficiency. It's all about conserving that precious mental energy.
So if System 1 is the swift guard at the gate, then System 2 is the thoughtful judge inside the courtroom.
Perfect analogy.
This is the inquiring mind. This is the part of our brain we think we're talking to with our reports and our 5-point arguments. It's slow, deliberate, analytical, and logical.
And this is the crucial part. it takes a lot of effort to engage it.
It's lazy.
We're all wired to conserve energy, so we default to system one, to that fast, instinctive thinking whenever we possibly can.
So here's the insight that changes everything for persuasion.
This is it.
The instinctive mind, system one, is the absolute gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper.
Before your brilliant logic and your perfect facts can even be considered by system two, the idea has to get past the emotional filter of system one.
And if that emotional security guard says no,
The gate stays shut. The facts don't even get a hearing.
and this is precisely why you can present a flawless logical argument and get that incredibly frustrating response. Right. I understand the data, but it just doesn't feel right.
The feeling has veto power.
Absolute non-negotiable veto power over the intellect.
That reframes the entire challenge, doesn't it?
Mhm.
We're not debating logic anymore. We're addressing emotion and comfort,
Exactly.
which is where it gets really interesting. Why are these emotional filters, these beliefs, so incredibly strong? The book identifies 3 powerful psychological anchors that hold them in place.
Right. These are what make beliefs so resistant to change.
The first one is anchor 1, identity, or as the book calls it, the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We have this profound biological need to belong. Our beliefs often work as badges of membership. They signal that we're part of our family or community, our team.
I'm one of you.
Exactly. So to challenge a belief that's tied to this core identity, it feels like risking social rejection. And the brain actually processes social pain, like rejection, in some of the same ways it processes physical pain.
Wow. So it literally hurts to have your identity-linked beliefs challenged.
It's a survival threat. The
Yeah.
instinctive mind is asking, is this new idea what my people believe? If I adopt this, will I be kicked out of the group? Will I be unsafe?
That's a powerful insight, because it means you're not just challenging a statement of fact. You're potentially challenging their fundamental sense of self, their safety.
No wonder the defenses go up so fast.
Of course.
Yeah.
Think about a scientist who identifies as purely data-driven. If you suggest they incorporate intuition or narrative into their work, they might resist, not because it's a bad idea, but because it feels like a threat to their professional identity.
Right. That's not who I am.
Precisely.
Then there's anchor 2, ideology, the worldview.
This is the big picture.
This is the lens, the set of assumptions through which we see everything. And it acts as a powerful filter, reinforcing what's called confirmation bias.
We see what we already believe.
Exactly. We instantly accept information that confirms our worldview, and we quickly dismiss, or we don't even notice, information that contradicts it.
So an idea that threatens that whole ideological framework, it's not just seen as wrong.
It's seen as dangerous, as destabilizing.
Wow.
It threatens the whole order of things.
The book gives a great example. Imagine someone who deeply believes all big corporations are unethical. If they see a report that a corporation did something incredibly positive for a community.
Their mind doesn't see positive action. It immediately looks for the hidden selfish motive.
Right. It dismisses the good deed as a trick or a PR stunt, because accepting it at face value would destabilize their entire ideological anchor.
Okay, so we have identity, ideology, and the third is anchor 3, intuition. The gut feeling.
The elephant.
The elephant. This is that deep, innate sense of truth that's tied to emotion and personal experience.
Yeah.
And it can operate completely separately from evidence.
And it often overrides the evidence. This brings us back to that powerful analogy. Reason is the rider on the elephant's back.
Right.
The rider, reason, holds the reins and can try to steer. But the elephant, that huge mass of emotion and intuition, it's the one that really determines the direction. If the elephant doesn't want to go, the rider is powerless.
We see this all the time. A person can be shown overwhelming evidence for a certain health choice, but they'll go with something else because a friend told them a compelling story about it.
That anecdote, that gut feeling, it resonated more powerfully on an emotional level. The elephant carried more weight than the facts.
So, what does this all mean for us in practice? The shift in focus is huge.
It's everything.
We have to stop asking the combative question, how can I prove I'm right?
And start asking the humble diagnostic question.
Which anchor is holding this belief in place? Is it identity? Is it ideology? Or is it intuition?
That initial diagnosis is absolutely critical. It tells you which technique to use.
That's so true. You can't just use a sledgehammer on these anchors. You have to respectfully acknowledge the barrier and then gently loosen it.
Which leads us directly to the first major technique in the book.
Before we move on, I'd love to hear from you, our listeners. Which of these anchors, identity, ideology, or intuition, do you think is the hardest to overcome in a difficult conversation? Let us know your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We read them all. Okay, so let's get into the practical application. Once we understand that defensive mind, the first technique is all about how you present the information. This is technique 1, the art of reframing.
Reframing it's a truly masterful technique. And what's crucial to understand is that it doesn't change the facts.
Not at all.
It changes the lens, the context, the connotation, the perspective through which those same facts are viewed.
It's about making the idea palatable, less threatening to that emotional gatekeeper, system 1.
Exactly. It's the classic difference between seeing a glass as half empty versus half full. The amount of water is identical, but the feeling, the perspective, is completely different.
So let's break down the strategies for reframing. The first is priming the mind. What does that actually look like?
Priming is all about preparing the listener subconsciously to be receptive, even before you state your main argument. You're setting the emotional stage.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Well, there are a few ways. The first is linguistic priming. This is just the very careful choice of words.
Words that set a positive, non-confrontational tone.
Precisely. So, for example, instead of describing a new company initiative as a required task, you frame it as an opportunity for meaningful service. You use words that resonate with shared values like unity, care, stewardship, progress.
You're aligning your proposal with what they already hold dear.
Yes, subconsciously. So when you're talking about a budget cut, you don't call it a drastic reduction. You reframe it as a strategic realignment to protect essential services.
The focus shifts from loss to security.
Right. Then you have experiential priming. This is great for teams or families. You remind people of past successes.
So you'd say something like, remember how effective we were during that last big project? That same spirit of collaboration is exactly what we need now.
You got it. It puts them in a positive, receptive state of mind by tapping into a good memory.
And the last type of priming?
Contextual priming. An idea gains credibility if it's linked to something respected. A tradition, a shared success story.
So you're framing the new idea as an extension of something they already trust.
Exactly. It doesn't feel radical or threatening anymore. It feels like a natural next step.
Okay, so that's priming. The second strategy under reframing is the power of contrast.
Right. Our minds love to compare things, and contrast can create a kind of constructive discomfort that motivates change.
What's the most powerful type of contrast?
The book calls it the value-action contrast. This is where you gently, kindly highlight the gap between someone's stated values and their current actions.
That sounds a bit risky. Sounds like you're calling them a hypocrite.
It's a fine line, and the book is very clear this has to be done with profound respect. You never, ever accuse.
So how do you do it?
You use what's called an explanatory contrast. It's basically the Socratic method. You just ask gentle, clarifying questions.
Like what?
Like, help me understand, given your deep commitment to team unity, how does this particular approach support that goal? You let them articulate it.
So they hear their own logical inconsistencies. It comes from them, not from you.
Exactly. Your role is just to facilitate, to listen deeply. It's not a confrontation.
That makes sense. Facilitating self-realization instead of lecturing. And what about commitment contrast?
This one's fascinating. It's where you get a small, positive verbal commitment up front, something simple.
Like we all agree that we want what's best for the community, right?
Perfect. Once they say yes to that, any later behavior that contradicts it creates cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable feeling.
And their mind naturally wants to resolve that feeling.
Often by shifting their behavior to align with the commitment they just made. It's very gentle.
Okay, the third strategy is the alchemy of words.
Language shapes our reality. So we have to be alchemists. First, positive recasting.
Choosing positive or neutral terms.
Always. It's a transition, not a problem. It's developmental feedback, not criticism. You frame a challenge as a test of our resilience.
It maintains morale and directs focus towards solutions.
And then there's memorable language, the instinctive mind, the elephant, love stories, analogies, metaphors.
So you illustrate complex points with simple, sticky examples.
Great teachers have done this for centuries. A good metaphor is a bridge for the emotional gatekeeper to walk across.
I like that. Finally, under reframing, is framing for autonomy.
So important. If people feel forced, they resist automatically. It's called psychological reactance.
So you have to emphasize choice.
Always. Instead of you must do X, you say X is an option that's available if you choose to pursue it.
You're respecting their free will.
Which makes them far more likely to cooperate.
Okay, so reframing gets the idea in the door by making it sound acceptable. But even the best idea will fail if the messenger isn't trusted.
And that foundational trust brings us right to technique 2. building affinity.
If you're finding these detailed explanations useful for your communication and your English, please take a second to hit that like button right now. It really helps the channel. And share this with friends so they can learn with us too.
All right, on to technique 2, building authentic affinity. This is all about trust and connection. The core principle is simple but so powerful.
People are persuaded by those they feel connected to.
Exactly. Affinity lowers those psychological defenses. It opens up the communication channels so the logical brain, system 2, can actually engage. It's about building a bridge first.
So the first strategy here is redefining disagreement.
Yes, we have to consciously shift the paradigm. A disagreement isn't a battle to be won.
It's a shared exploration.
A shared exploration toward a better outcome for everyone. We do this by adopting a collaborative stance.
We're using phrases like, help me understand your view, or let's see what we can figure out together.
Right. It signals you're on the same team, which means you have to be seeking impact, not victory.
The goal isn't proving you're right. It's achieving a positive outcome, like a stronger relationship or a better idea.
And a huge part of that is acknowledging the valid points in their argument.
Even if they contradict your own.
Especially then. It shows you're reasoning with them, not lecturing at them.
Okay, strategy 2 is the courage of vulnerability. This feels counterintuitive.
It does, but in a world of posturing, genuine vulnerability is a superpower. It signals honesty and humility.
So how do you show vulnerability without looking weak?
It starts with admitting limitations. Saying something like, I know my view is limited, or I felt the same uncertainty when I first heard this.
It disarms them. You're not an authority figure anymore. You're a fellow seeker.
And the book points out this can actually trigger the release of oxytocin in the listener's brain, the trust hormone.
Wow.
And you can also try sharing journeys. If you've ever changed your own mind on something, tell that story.
You're normalizing change. You're framing it as a sign of strength and growth, not weakness.
Exactly. It sends the message, it's okay to evolve your thinking.
And what about self-deprecating humor?
A modest, lighthearted joke at your own expense can work wonders. It makes you relatable and softens the atmosphere. As long as it's tasteful, of course.
Of course. And the final strategy for building affinity is discovering and emphasizing common ground.
Building that bridge of we-ness.
You have to start with shared values and goals.
Always begin by emphatically agreeing on the core objectives. We both want a safe community. We both want this project to succeed.
It establishes an alliance right away. You're on the same side of the mountain, even if you disagree on the path up.
And then use strategic agreement wherever you honestly can.
Saying things like, I agree that we need to be cautious.
Yes. Validate their concerns. If you can anchor your new idea in a few things you both agree on, they're much more likely to listen openly to the one new thing you're proposing.
You also mentioned finding micro-affinities. What are those?
Small, unexpected points of connection. A shared concern, a similar experience. Finding those little things builds camaraderie.
And finally, subtle mirroring.
This is a subconscious thing. Naturally adopting a similar tone or pace of speech. It signals to their system 1, I'm listening, I'm like you. It has to be genuine, of course, not mimicry.
Okay. So we've made the idea acceptable with reframing, and we've made the messenger trustworthy with affinity. Now we have to tackle the deepest fear.
The fear of being wrong, the fear of losing face, which brings us to technique 3.
And just a quick reminder, if you want to really master these concepts, that free worksheet is waiting for you in the description box. It's a great way to practice your English and make sure these ideas stick. All right, on to technique 3, preserving dignity and autonomy. This feels like the ethical heart of the whole process.
It really is. The book makes it clear that for many people, the biggest barrier to changing their mind is the fear of losing face. Losing status.
An attack on a belief feels like an attack on their intelligence.
On them, personally. So the most effective and ethical path is one that scrupulously guards their dignity. You have to make the change feel safe, not like a defeat.
So the first strategy for this is the feel, felt, found method. Can you break that down?
It's a brilliant 3-step tool. The first step is feel, which is all about validation.
Acknowledging their emotion without judgment.
Exactly. You say, I can see why you feel cautious about this, or I understand how that situation would make you hesitant. You're making them feel heard.
Okay, what's the second step?
The second step is felt. This is about creating commonality. You share a brief, genuine story of when you felt a similar way.
I once felt the same uncertainty when I first encountered this proposal.
Perfect. It normalizes their position. It tells them they're not irrational or alone. You're creating a shared emotional space.
And only then do you move to the final step.
Only then. The final step is found. This is where you gently introduce your alternative perspective, but you frame it as a personal discovery.
So what I found, however, was that by doing X, it
It
actually...
actually addressed that initial fear.
Yes.
The whole sequence guides them gently, ensuring they feel heard and accompanied, not lectured.
The next strategy is incredibly powerful. The Socratic power of questions.
Telling someone they're wrong just triggers their defenses. Skillful, curious questioning lets them discover the insight for themselves.
Which gives them ownership over the new idea.
Total ownership. And this relies on open-ended inquiry, using how, what, and why questions.
So instead of debating, you ask things like, what would need to be true for you to feel comfortable with this?
Exactly. Or you can use questions that explore consequences.
Gently guiding them to see the implications of their current stance. If we continue on this path, what do you see as the likely outcome in a year?
You're not judging. You're just inviting their logical brain, their system two, to follow the path to its natural conclusion.
And the tone here is everything. The book warns against interrogation.
It's the difference between curiosity and cross-examination. You have to be genuinely curious, and you have to listen. Pause after you ask a question. Your goal is to facilitate their thinking, not trap them.
Okay, and the final strategy for preserving dignity is the gift of choice.
We talked about psychological reactance. When people feel forced, they resist. Offering genuine choice disarms that.
So you use framed options.
Right. You present your preferred path as one of several reasonable options. We have option A, B, or C. Which you think serves our needs best? It fosters collaboration.
And then there's the power of the opt-out clause.
This is so good. Explicitly giving someone permission to say no can actually make them more likely to say yes.
How does that work?
It removes the pressure. Compliance becomes voluntary cooperation. You say, please feel completely free to decline if this doesn't work for you.
And suddenly they feel respected and in control.
Exactly. And remember to offer limited choices. Not one choice, which creates resistance, and not 10 choices, which creates paralysis. 2 to 4 is the sweet spot.
We've covered the personal connection, the presentation, but we're social creatures. A community has a massive influence.
Which brings us to how we can harness that wisely. Next up, technique 4.
We're getting into some really advanced strategies here. Let us know in the comments what you think about these techniques. Could you see yourself using them?
Okay, technique 4. Harnessing social influence wisely. Our brains are deeply wired to look to others for cues on how to behave, especially when we're uncertain.
We look to our peers, to authority figures.
Right, and ethical influence channels this powerful dynamic toward beneficial and truthful ends.
The first strategy here is a classic, the principle of social proof.
People determine what's correct by looking at what other people are doing.
So we should be highlighting widespread acceptance.
Yes, but honestly and accurately, you use statements grounded in truth, like, this is the approach already adopted by many respected families in our community. The key is integrity, no exaggeration.
You can also use expert and peer endorsement.
Citing respected figures helps, but sometimes citing a relatable peer is even more powerful.
I spoke with Sarah, who was initially hesitant, and she found that.
Perfect. Hearing from someone who has already navigated the change is profoundly persuasive. It reduces the fear of the unknown.
And the book talks about a kind of positive collective motivation.
It's not about creating negative FOMO. It's about highlighting the positive opportunity of acting together, appealing to that desire for community.
Many hands make light work.
Exactly. Strategy 2 is about fostering group synergy, channeling that herd mentality toward positive cohesion.
This is where the bandwagon effect comes in.
It's much easier to add momentum to something that's already moving. So you frame your suggestion as a natural continuation of an already accepted group value.
This idea builds on the values of collaboration we successfully implemented last quarter.
You're making it the logical next step. And think about the power of synchronized activities.
Shared meals, group projects.
Things that create rhythm and unity. When people feel connected, they become much more receptive to collective goals.
And a book mentions the critical mass threshold.
A fascinating insight. Research suggests that once you get genuine commitment from about 75% of a group,
The rest often follow naturally, just because of the overwhelming social proof.
so it's strategic to build a strong core of supporters first before you go for the whole group.
Okay, the third strategy is The cycle of reciprocity.
The powerful, universal urge to return a kindness.
The ethical way to use this is to give first, generously and sincerely.
Offer your time, your help, a kind word, with no immediate expectation of return. It's a mark of high character, and it builds real social capital.
And the book stresses the importance of personalized favors.
Favors that are thoughtful and tailored to the person's specific needs. It shows you genuinely care.
And then there's this paradox, the small favor technique.
Right. Asking someone for a modest, reasonable favor can actually increase their affinity for you.
How?
Because they create a story in their mind. I helped this person, so I must like them. It makes them more receptive to you later, but the request has to be small and respectful.
We'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found reciprocity useful in your community? Let us know in the comments.
So we've covered the mechanics of presenting ideas and connecting with people. But the engine that drives all of this is the fifth and final technique.
The foundational skill of empathy.
And that brings us to the heart of it all. Technique 5, employing empathy.
Empathy isn't just sympathy.
Not at all. It's the capacity to genuinely step outside your own perspective and understand the thoughts and feelings of another person. It's the tool that lets you craft a message that the instinctive mind can actually hear.
And it has to be put into action. Strategy 1 is humanizing the abstract.
We have to consciously move the conversation from the cold, impersonal intellect to the warm, relational heart.
This means moving from statistics to stories.
Yes. Instead of just citing data, share the respectful narrative of an individual who is impacted. Data tells you what happened. Stories tell you why it matters.
It engages the emotional brain, system 1, directly.
And we have to be connecting to shared humanity. Frame the issues around universal needs: dignity, safety, hope for a better future for our children.
When you frame it that way, it's much harder for the instinctive mind to dismiss it as just an argument.
This is what great orators have always known.
We've been talking about how powerful this is, and I want to remind you, if you're enjoying this exploration of Mindstuck and improving your English, please remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our future book bites.
Okay, strategy 2 is hypothetical exploration.
For those really entrenched positions where direct argument is just futile.
Right. Hypothetical questions let people safely explore new ideas without having to abandon their defenses.
So you're opening the door of possibility.
Gently. Using questions like, could it be possible there's another angle we haven't considered? Or, just for a moment, let's imagine this worked perfectly. What might the benefits be?
You can also use questions that force stepping into another's shoes.
Asking, if you were in the position of someone who benefited from this, how might you view this debate?
It actively encourages perspective taking.
And this helps in breaking the victim-villain narrative. Conflicts are often seen in black and white. You can complicate that by asking, what fears or concerns might have led the other party to take that stance?
It transforms an opponent into a human being.
Which makes them more receptive to affinity. Finally, the most powerful strategy of all, experiential immersion. Show, don't tell.
How can we do that?
Through things like guided visualization, you walk the listener through a compassionate narrative. Imagine waking up tomorrow and facing this challenge.
It engages their emotional and sensory brain, the elephant.
Directly. A more intensive method is role reversal.
Having people in a conflict actually argue the other's case.
It forces them to internalize the other person's reasoning and emotions. It can be revolutionary.
And we can also leverage technology and curated stories.
Respectful films or documentaries that simulate another's experience. They can create rapid, profound, empathetic shifts.
So at the end of the day, empathy is the ultimate ethical tool.
It reframes the goal from victory to connection. It reframes the other person from an opponent to a human being. It's the engine that makes the other 4 techniques work.
If you found this discussion insightful, please share this Book Bites exploration with your friends and family so they can learn these powerful communication strategies with us too. We've been on a profound journey today. We started with the psychology of the fixed mindset, anchored by identity, ideology, and intuition.
And it's so clear you have to understand that landscape before you try to change it.
We've learned that to move minds in a respectful, lasting way, we have to abandon brute force and adopt the tools of a gentle guide.
Let's do a quick final recap of the 5 techniques from the book.
Great idea. Number 1 was reframing.
Changing the lens, not the fact, to make an idea acceptable to the instinctive mind.
Number 2, building authentic affinity.
Seeking connection before correction, because people listen to those they trust.
Number 3, preserving dignity and autonomy.
Honoring their free will with choice and questions, making change feel self.
Number 4, harnessing social influence wisely.
Channeling the power of the community toward beneficial ends with integrity.
And finally, number 5, employing empathy.
The foundation. Leading with comprehension and humanization because understanding is the prerequisite for all successful dialogue.
The final implication here is profound. These aren't tricks for manipulation.
No, they are frameworks for ethical, sincere engagement. They align with the highest principles of character wisdom, kindness, patience.
True, lasting change has to be embraced willingly from within. Our role is just to create the conditions of safety and respect for that to happen.
When you do that with pure intention, communication becomes a sincere service.
That is the ultimate lesson. Influence is about inviting, not imposing.
Guiding them to the truth, not commanding them to follow your logic.
So the next time you face resistance, instead of just applying more facts, stop, pause, and ask yourself this question.
What small, genuine act of affinity or dignity preservation could I offer right now that would transform this person from a defensive opponent into a receptive partner?
Focusing on that connection is almost always the fastest, most ethical path to real change.
We really encourage you to continue this exploration. Let us know what you think in the comments. Which of the 5 techniques are you going to try first?
And don't forget, you can download that free English practice worksheet for this Service Bed. Episode 1, Mindstuck by McQueen, from the description box. It will really help you cement your learning.
Finally, if you found this discussion insightful and useful, please make sure to like this video, share it with your friends and family.
And make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our future book bites. Thank you so much for joining us for this exploration. We look forward to connecting with you again next time.